Hello everyone! So here's 8 things that I hear you write in your orchestral mockups for your strings that makes me feel like I want to... No, don't worry. That makes me feel like it needs a little bit of work. And plus I got 2 bonus tips for you at the end of this video. So let's go with number 1. The first one is arpeggios. This is possible for the strings, but it's just super hard. This is something you will do on the piano. Super easy on the piano, super hard on the strings. Imagine you have your bow, and then you're up here, and then you have to start over down here, and it's not easy. I recently worked with someone who's written this, and I told him, this is gonna be hard. And he's written it anyway because we knew we would work with great musicians. But it was a tough session just because of that. And I think we didn't get like it perfectly even. But that was at a low speed. Instead, you could do this. Instead, go up and down in your arpeggios, but not too fast again, because just doing legato while skipping strings and changing positions doesn't make for the easiest transition. Now, number 2 is when you voice your strings like this. It might sound great on the piano, but it doesn't sound good on the strings. You have way too much of a gap between the lowest part and the highest part. When I hear this, I hear something that is disbalanced in the string orchestra. You should have more notes in the higher register and maybe more space in the lower register, like octaves or fifths. Number 3, let's talk about pizzicatos. Imagine yourself with a violin. This is not possible. You can't go that fast. I think the fastest you can go is something like this. So it's possible at this speed, but it's still hard. So when you hear it perfectly played by a sample orchestra, it just sounds weird and not idiomatic at all for the instrument. And again, good musicians recording sessions are kind of rare. So when I hear this, I'm like, who's gonna be able to play this? Number 4, let's talk about col legno. It's the same with col legno. Col legnos are not like bowing up and bowing down. This is called col legno tratto, which is actually bowing with the other side of the bow. But simple col legno, you'd have to share like with the neighbor the col legno they're doing to make it possible that fast. So stop doing these crazy things. Number 5. So when you present a patch with 2 notes, and then you added a 3rd note, and then a 4th note, and a 5th note, 6th note, 7th note, 8th note. It will not sound like a real orchestra. You should really try at all times to separate the violin wand into violas, cellos, double basses, and know what they are doing. Roughly how many musicians do you have? Because it's the weirdest thing to hear a sample string orchestra just playing an octave first, and you hear maybe 16 musicians on these 2 notes. But then suddenly you just add so many notes and it becomes like 120 people in like a matter of a second. And they all sounds like violins and playing in the same register. So it's really not realistic again. Number 6, let's talk about triplets. Again, super easy on the piano. but super hard on the strings. Note that when they're playing staccato, they have to go down, up, down, up, down, up. So they have to do ta 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 ta. And when you have the three notes, you usually do them on two different strings. But when you do the first figure, ti ta ti you come back on the lowest note here while being this far away, like this. And then changing skip again while jumping over the strings. Usually when you go down, up, you want to do the string skipping in the same way. If your bow is right there and the string is out the other way, it's going to be hard to get. I'm a guitar player. It's something that is quite hard on the guitar with the pick. But it's even harder on the strings. Number 7. Now, legato notes. Careful with your MIDI. If you're doing melodies and you really don't want to hear any interruption in the sound, don't overlay the MIDI notes like so. Because in the middle we will hear ring and we will hear the first note and then the second note blending together. You know the strings when they bow again. There's sometimes a little hole in the sound that you will hear. So implementing this in your writing sometimes can make it feel more natural. And finally, number 8. Too many notes in the lower register make it sound weird. Because you're not supposed to have a ton of instruments down there. You know that the string orchestra, well, the lower you get, the less instruments you need. So if you have 8 violin 1, 8 violin 2, 8 violas, you maybe have 6 cellos and 2 or 3 double basses. So if you have like 5 notes in the lowest double bass section that only the double bass can play, well, it's gonna feel weird. And anyway, it's gonna sound really muddy. Which brings me to 2 of my extra tips. And the first one is this one. Writing notes that are closer apart can sound fine on the piano. But it would just sound bad on the string orchestra. String orchestras has a lot of players, so more players, more harmonics. And my final tip, instead of plucking chords in your string orchestra, make the line move. Add some counterpoint. Instead of one big ensemble, create some layering. Now, if you want to know more about how I write for real string players, I invite you to check out this next video.